Video for Sales. And today we have a special guest, our first ever guest star on Video Selling Live. Everybody give it up to Will Aitken. Will, welcome to the show.
What's up, Chris? Happy Monday to you and everyone else in the audience who's decided to join us two nutters this morning. Hopefully there's going to be a ton of value in here on how people can get more of their videos opened and watched.
Yeah, so very happy to have you here. If anybody doesn't know, Will is the head of social media over at Lavender. It is an email writing tool that helps you write better, more strategic emails. And today we are going deep on email strategy for video. So this is Video Selling Live. It is hosted by SendSpark. But if you're not a SendSpark user, that's fine too. Maybe you use a different video program. Maybe you're just getting started with video and you're just using your phone. This is a show all about simple techniques you can use to get on video and reach the people you need to reach for sales. So before we kick the episode off, go ahead and if anybody wants to follow SendSpark on LinkedIn, go ahead and scan the QR code right here. That is the easiest way to make sure that you never miss an episode. We do this every 2 weeks. Yeah, go ahead. No, he knows too. And now we've got Lavender up here too, so you can also follow Lavender.
Oh, we're double dipping on the logos.
Yeah, well, I mean, you're a special guest, so we get to have that here. And then also, I'm a coach. If you don't know me, my name is Chris Bogue. I coach people to make mercifully short video content. I'm the creator of the Complete Guide to Selling on Video. I am an absolute addict when it comes to video for sales. And I want to hear from you today. So if you are watching this live, whether it's on YouTube or LinkedIn, go ahead and drop a comment. We are going to be answering all your questions about video and sales and email. And most importantly, if you don't comment, we don't know that you're here. So go ahead, say hi, let us know where you're posting from. We're going to try to answer as many questions from the audience as we can throughout the show. And all our commenters are entering to win a $50 Amazon gift card today. So drop a comment in there, join in on the show. And Will, I think we should start off with today's video breakdown segment. Are you ready for the video breakdown?
I'm so ready, Chris.
Let's do it. Okay, so this is the video breakdown segment. This is the part of the show where we analyze video from real sellers, real people who are out there setting meetings, SDRs, AEs. And today we've actually got a special edition of the video breakdown. So normally we are watching the actual prospecting videos and giving perspective on how they could be made. But because we've got the email master here today, we're going to go ahead and we are going to analyze the email copy that was submitted to us from a real salesperson. So today's submission comes from Megan from HubSpot. And let's take a look at what Megan wrote along with her video. Okay.
I'm going to read this out real quick. Happy Monday. Judy, I'm following up on a note from my colleague Katie, whom you spoke with a year ago regarding your marketing efforts at Century 21. Click to play for a quick intro and even quicker question. And then we've got the thumbnail, the link, and that title of the video there. Website thoughts for Century 21, hyperlink to the video as well. Would you say you're all set in that arena, or is there room for improvement? Question mark. Best, Megan.
Awesome. And I do feel... I'll show the response in here too, just because anybody who does sales knows what you want to do is you want to engage the other person in a conversation. You want them to respond to you positively. And this seller actually did get a positive response.
You'll love to see it. I'm not surprised.
So you could do this here. And yeah, so the subject was re-video C21 website observation.
Yep.
And she said, Megan, cool email. I like how it was presented. Interesting timing, as we just had a website review by a consulting team, but we didn't discuss the focus you presented. It would be nice to chat with you to hear more about it, but my son is in town for a couple weeks. Will you please circle back around August 28th, maybe to schedule a Zoom meeting? Thanks, Judy. So, Will, what do you think about this week's submission?
I really like it, actually. Now, there are always going to be a couple of rooms for improvements, but obviously this got the result they were looking for. It got the response, got the interest, and it didn't look like the most important thing is with any email, whether it includes a video or not, is that it didn't look like every other video that Judy was probably, sorry, every other email that Judy was probably receiving, both because of the copy and the inclusion of a video in that email as well. So yeah, I really like that. See why it worked, see why it got the interest. Have share a couple of potential improvements, but that said, not that they matter because you got the response.
Yeah, this is something that's very important to the audience. Something I tell everybody who submits to our competition. Are we going to give you our best practices and our insights from the data? Yes. Are there instances where you'll completely ignore what Will and I say and still get a meeting? Yes. The most successful video is the one that works. And more important than anything we're saying here is the fact that you get on video in the first place. Showing up, being curious, being insightful, you'll notice that what that response said was Megan did a particularly good job here zeroing in on something that was important to the recipient that was not covered by another consultant. And ultimately, I think that's why she got the positive response. But Will, I am curious here. What do you think she could have done potentially to make this an even more effective email?
Yeah, I would say that Megan didn't do what I would say not as badly as what I see most people do in the potential email that goes alongside the video. So this is probably the biggest question I get asked when people talk about video prospecting. What should I put in the email when I send the video alongside it? And I think the mistakes that people make, and that Megan didn't make today, is that they give away too much in the body of the email, which removes the need for the recipient to even watch the video. So what I see is a lot of people, when they reach out to someone and say a video, they write a whole ass cold email, and then they're like, and here's a video. And almost they spoil the video. They remove all need to watch the video because they've outlined everything. They've kind of like, spoiler alert, this is what the video is about. This is the question I'm going to ask you, yada, yada. I think a good email that goes alongside a video isn't trying to do anything but get someone to watch the video. The video is the star of the show here because you put all that effort into recording a great video. Ideally, you've followed all the tips that Chris and the team give away on how to record a good video. Why spoil it by basically negating the need for the prospect to even go ahead and watch the thing? So I think Megan could have potentially, if there was a little bit more there, given away so much that Judy wouldn't have felt the need to actually click on that video because she would have felt like she could have walked away and kind of said, oh, it's a sales email. I get the idea. I know what this is about. I don't really need to go and watch a 30-second video. Or, you know, it could be up to like some cases, some videos are way too long, right? You've probably spoken about this a lot. But I don't think she did do that. But I think if one more sentence could have potentially removed the need for Judy to watch that video out of it. And that's the danger I think you run into when you do the email.
Yeah, I would say if you wanted to tighten this message up even further, like for example, oh wait, I just had it on screen for a second. So like this is good, but even like, you know, quick intro and quicker question, using the word quick question in like the subject line, you know, you might have been able to only say that once and get the same point across, or you might not have even had said it at all. You know, oftentimes if you're using like SendSpark or some of the other like programs out there, like they can physically see how long the video is already. Again, this was a successful video, so I don't want to sit here and like critique it because like obviously it worked, so it was good. But I do know sometimes buyers will see subject line quick question and be like, uh-oh, that's a sales email, and like it might give some other recipients the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, a lot of people do go, oh, well, the subject line quick questions work for me. But generally on data, we do see that one does underperform in comparison because oftentimes, or sometimes it gets the open, but then like someone opens it and sees it's not important and then clicks away. The good thing about this email is it's super short. I think that the danger when we do an email like this is the fact that there's almost two CTAs in this email. One is watch my video, and the second one is the question that's asked below the video. And what that can sometimes do when you ask multiple questions or tell someone to do a couple of things in an email, click the video and answer my question or reply if this is interesting, is you can overwhelm someone. And at which point they're not going to, they kind of analysis paralysis. Okay, I don't know what to do with this, so I'm just going to put it aside. I find the best emails that include a video, the entire CTA of the email isn't reply to my email, it's watch my video. And then in the video, you can then give them a secondary CTA because they're kind of moving down at that point. So I think The CT at the bottom there maybe is probably the part that I would change. The subject line, I would err on the caution of using subject lines that look like other emails, because generally what that's going to do is set off alarm bells in the prospect's mind going, uh-oh, I don't want to be sold to. No one really wants to be sold to. So when they see things like quick question and those other kind of typically very sales and marketing adjacent subjects, it can sometimes put up walls. In this case, it didn't. And of course, there are always going to be exceptions to those rules. I'm always going to be trying to think of different ways to avoid looking like other prospecting messages they get. Video on its own is a great way to do that. But you also want to make sure that email gets opened in the first place. Otherwise, that video is going to go to total waste.
Let's talk about that subject line too, because you can see here the subject line was video C21 website observation. So I may be misreading this, but this might be, this looks like, and I've done this, I used to do this in sales too, where you put the subject line colon, and then your subject line to make it look like the conversation has already begun. What are your thoughts on that, Will?
Okay. So typically I would shun that. I'd be like, you do not trick your buyers into opening your email by pretending that you've had a conversation in the past with the RE trick. It gets opened, but it actually annoys people, causes them to report your email as spam. That leads to a whole other myriad of issues, brand damage, deliverability issues. Now, with that said, in this email, Megan does reference that a previous conversation had happened. Although it be a year ago, she's still referencing a past conversation, which is what RE means, referencing. So I don't think she's being deceptive there. This is actually probably one of the cases where I'd say using RE when it's not already a response to a prior conversation would be acceptable. Now, if you'd sent this to someone using the RE and there hadn't been a previous conversation with one of your colleagues from a year ago, at that point you're in the world of almost deceiving someone to open your email, which is a horrible way. Obviously, we know this, to start a client relationship, especially as sales, especially when we've already got this reputation about being lying, deceiving dirtbags. We don't want to be doing that. I think Megan gets away with a pass on this one because she references a past conversation, and that's what the RE means, referencing website conversation from a year ago.
Yeah, I think that's what Megan did very effectively here. Yeah. I think oftentimes salespeople get they get burned by rejection. I've been talking to a lot of sales leaders who their reps will send very creative prospecting videos. If you ask me, maybe a little too creative. Takes a little bit too much time. And then when it doesn't get responded to, they assume, oh, they didn't respond to my email, they must hate me. They must have interpreted that video the wrong way. Now they get this anxiety about them where they feel like they can't follow up. And I say everything is a gift. Even a past rejection, a past conversation, a past email that didn't get responded to, that's just context. And I think Megan did a really good job that was an unsuccessful meeting she was referencing with another rep at the company.
Exactly.
Megan was able to turn that into a point of context that made her actually more relevant and actually got the person to read it. So I thought she was very successful at that.
I think that's exactly it. And that's exactly what you're looking for in any prospect messaging, is something that makes it relevant. This is why I'm reaching out. And if you have a reason for reaching out, that makes your message so much more impactful. Like when you have a trigger or an observation, as we like to call it, that says, this is why I think you might find this interesting. So when I think about sending videos, I normally think about sending them as a follow-up item. There's a couple of reasons for that. A couple of which are deliverability, but the second one is generally in my sequences when I'm using video, if I don't have to record a video, and this sounds bad, if I can call someone or email them and get a response without having to record them a video, then that's actually a win for me. But I will use video as a later way to show up in my sequence in a new way as a pattern interrupt, like we described earlier, because although we hear about video usage a lot in the SaaS world, to so many people, they probably receive 1 or 2 videos a year. We think it's a lot more common than that actually is. When you have to speak to a VP, I did an interview series of 8 different buyers from 8 different departments a while ago. I asked them, hey, how many videos do you receive? And they were like very rare. And when I get them, I watch them, right? And which is what we love to hear. But in SaaS, because we follow companies like SendSpark, we think, oh, this is this really common thing. But it's not. It's already a pattern interruption. But if we want to get people to watch those videos, then we still need to make sure that we're being relevant. And so I'm going to use it a little bit later in my sequence. I'm going to send an email. I'm going to make a cold call. I'm going to leave a voicemail. I might connect them on LinkedIn. And then I might send my video as a follow-up to my initial email. And in that email, this is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to write one line. and it's just going to say, hey, made a video regarding, and then trigger, observation, relevance. So in Megan's case, I would use that video as a follow-up, and I would say, hey, Judy, I made you a video to ask about blank, the conversation that you had with my colleague a year ago about website redesigns. Leave it at that. And then in the video, I can then ask the question that Megan ended up asking in the video. But what I've done by using an observation that's relevant to Judy is I've created intrigue about what the video could contain. And therefore, I'm much more likely to get that click. What we don't want to do is give Judy any reason to not want to watch that video. And the more beyond what I just described that you go into an email, the more reasons you give Judy to go, I don't really need to watch this to know what this is about. It's probably going to be a pitch, right?
That is a great point. I want you to hold on to that thought for just
that.
1 second, Will.
Okay.
Megan, thanks again. We are sending you a $50 Amazon gift card.
100%.
And this is a great segment to lesson time,
Lesson time.
With Will Aitken. So, Will, you ready for lesson time?
I'm so ready for lesson time.
Let's do it. Okay, so this is the part of the show. You can dance if you want to. You can leave your friends behind.
I hope I don't look like that teacher. He was an angry dude there.
No, that's what I look like as soon as the camera turns off. I am much angrier and
you
older.
blew it, Will.
Yeah, Aitken. No, so this is the point. So this is the whole reason why Will is here today, because Lavender is really good about, like, you're just using data. You're using data in order to coach sellers on how to better do this. So yeah, I just basically want you to continue on your thoughts here. I saw a great question that you started kind of getting on here, but Timothy's asking here, when you send an email with a video clip, how do you get around the spam filter? And it sounds like part of that is creating a little bit of context, having some touch points earlier in there. But yeah, how do you make sure that these videos are actually going to get to your buyer and that they're not going to get marked as spam?
Yeah. So the spam, got a great video on this. I'd drop it if I had it ready, but I don't. So, DM me if you want me to send you some tips on how to stay out the spam filter, because there's a million different ways about it. But what you want to make sure you're doing is as long as that first email, and this is why I reserve video for a follow-up a lot of the time as well, as long as that first email that you send has landed in the prospect's primary inbox, not the spam folder or promotional inbox in Gmail or Outlook, then generally any follow-up emails you send have been kind of whitelisted at that point in the same thread, which is when I then start including thumbnails and links, aka videos, right? In that first email, however, to improve the deliverability of that, I'm just going to try and avoid using spam trigger words. I'm going to avoid using too many links and those types of things. As long as that first email gets delivered, that second email is much more likely to come through, regardless if it includes a link, an attachment, an image.
What's a spam trigger word?
A spam trigger word. So think about this, like, what Gmail and Outlook don't want their users to have is a really bad experience where they're getting hit by scams and spams and whatnot. So a lot of times they're kind of screening these emails for words that would suggest something that's unimportant or even dangerous in some cases. So think about the types of emails that you get from spammers. They're going to be like, do you want to make 10 times your income while working from home? So whenever you reference money, working from home, careers, there's a huge list. HubSpot's probably got the most extensive one. Although we've got a bit into our product that will help you highlight when you've used spam trigger words. HubSpot's got a list of like 600 words that you just want to try and avoid. Using one of these words isn't going to guarantee your email is going to get sent to spam. There's a lot of context to where you use the word in the email and how you use it. But generally references to money, cash, winning something, competitions, and working from home. All these things that often are kind of adjacent to being scammed by people, essentially.
Yeah, I find so that's all like super useful, I think, for users to think about, because again, it's like the whole point is to get them to watch the video. If you don't land in the primary inbox in the first place, it's going to be hard to get through. Something Will was touching on that I also like to do too is I like to just take the words out of my buyer's mouth. And I like my jokes. Will's a funny guy too. He likes the jokes. But I always say I am more likely to reference a joke that my prospect made instead of a joke that I made. If they said something during an interview or on social media or something that stuck out to me, like their words are the thing that they type and say all the time. It sounds like them. It doesn't sound like, again, go through your own spam filter if you want to check this out at home. If you really want some motivation for how to not write a subject line, how to not write body copy, you can just go straight into Gmail and look at like what is Gmail automatically removing as spam for you. But yeah, I think that's really important. And again, I love your point about how like, hey, the video is the star of the show. Referencing, hey, I wanted to ask you about this. I know this is a point of relevance to you. And I think the example we watched earlier, Megan did a pretty good job to it. Like she asked a question, but she asked a question that would only make sense if you watched the video.
Exactly. That was the other thing I was going to call out. The question didn't spoil the video as such. It actually gave another reason why you might want to watch that video, because without that, you wouldn't be able to answer that question.
Yeah, and you can always follow up with that too. Again, it's like when you send your file. Actually, maybe do you have some data or some thoughts on? So, Will, you sent a video, right? It's touch point number 2, lands in the primary inbox. It's short, it's personalized, but they didn't watch it. What kind of follow up would you send after that? And how long would you wait before sending?
Yeah. So, I mean, you're asking like a deeper sequence question, and I think that's great. I think in my mind, and the way I've described this in the past when I'm thinking about follow-up and sequencing and using multiple channels, which includes video, email, social, cold calling, because a great seller will mix all of those things together to give themselves the best chance of standing out. I think when something doesn't work, we don't necessarily have to reference back to like the fact it didn't work. Like the buyer knows it didn't work. They know they didn't click on it. So oftentimes when we start doing follow-ups, which are like thoughts, or did you have a chance to see my last email, or did you listen to my voicemail, or did you watch my video? I think sometimes we can get in the zone of resistance with sellers, where we're just kind of bumping. Bumping's a really bad place to be when following up with someone, because you're no longer adding any new information or value to the prospect. So if your video doesn't get watched, I don't recommend saying any thoughts on my last video, because those are oftentimes the things that people go, oh, this person again. Instead, I'd just switch gears again. Maybe send a piece of content. So far you've sent a cold email, didn't work. You've probably made a couple of cold calls and some DMs or some social engagement on the side. You sent a video that didn't work. What are you going to do in the third one? Are you going to do one of those first 2 things that didn't work? Or are you going to change up again? So then I might actually then just send a piece of content. I might be like, hey, based on the fact you had a conversation with my colleague, given Megan's example a year ago, and these things were mentioned, I thought this report on website best practice might be interesting to you. And then I'm doing deposits and I'm switching gears again. I'm just trying lots of different combinations to basically try and find something that the prospect actually likes and is going to be receptive of. I think when we get in the business of like just going like bumping this top of your inbox or circling back or following up or did you have any thoughts, that's where we should probably actually, if we've got nothing new to say or or can't say it in a new way, that's where we might need to think about, okay, do we actually have a really good reason for reaching out to this person in the first place?
That is an excellent point. I really enjoy that. And looks like we're getting to the end here. So, Will, I think it's time to move to this week's sales challenge. Are you ready for it?
So ready. Let's go.
Let's do it. All right. So this week's sales challenge, we're talking all about email. This week's challenge is sending a customized thumbnail as part of your email for videos. So, Will, I know this is something you do. I know you've seen some interesting observations about thumbnails. What kind of tips can you give the viewers here about how to create an effective personalized thumbnail?
Yeah. So when I think about thumbnails, they're probably just as important as the email body itself, which is why I was really keen to talk about this as part of the show. Because what we want is to show them something that's going to build more intrigue. So a lot of the times what you see in thumbnails, back in the day, you used to have like the name with the whiteboard and the wave. That was like the cliche one. But then we moved on from that. And what we're trying to do is show that this is something about them that's relevant to them that makes them go, what is this? And ideally something that they haven't seen before. So I actually use a lot of my marketing kind of techniques of how I do my YouTube videos and apply those to my sales outreach as well. So when I talk about YouTube videos, when I go on YouTube, one of the most important things you can do to get your videos watched is have a good thumbnail. So in these cases, I'm gonna share my screen. You should be able to see this in a second now, Chris. See if you can turn that on the left side there. Oh no, have I lost you?
Oh yeah, no. Okay, here we go.
So when I talk about,
why can't I see your thing here on screen? Hang on, it's not letting me share it.
I think it's showing up now on mine. So
okay, there we go. Yeah.
So like YouTube thumbnails, if we can try and create some of that same curiosity that a YouTube thumbnail does in a email video sent to someone, then we're on to winner. Now, a lot of these thumbnails took me hours potentially to design because they're YouTube thumbnails. What you can do is have a really relevant, good working thumbnail and just change out things. So in this case, I could use this as my template. And for every email that I send, let's just go to chrisbogue.com. Let's hope that you'll get
chrisbogue.io will get you to the...
Okay, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So in this case, what I can do for each of my videos is I can take a screenshot of the prospect's website or their LinkedIn profile or whatever, because that's kind of like a lot of thing that's been working for a lot of people. I can get, once I've got that, I can switch out the background in like just a simple Canva and make it Chris Bogue's website instead of whatever background there is right now. I can have a still image of myself that I use on every single thing. Let me send backwards. And then I can whack on some text that says, question for you, Chris. And I could send that, and I can do that. And as you just saw there, like, this doesn't look as good as it could, but ideally I would have a better template ready. But if I template these, then I can make them happen really quickly and send them a thumbnail that they've never, ever, ever seen before for a sales video. Make that nice and big. I might even make a background for that, like that. And I could send that to Chris. And I'm pretty sure, Chris, you've probably never received a video with a thumbnail that's quite, in this case, I don't like the black by my
Actually, yeah. I actually had a seller this morning send me a picture of Will Aitken going with a laptop. So not usually.
That photo probably isn't the best one. It would probably be a photo of me just waving or something like that. But this style of thumbnail is something that people just don't see as much these days. So if you can do that, you're actually going to, again, stand out and do things that they're not used to seeing and interrupt that pattern. And if you just have a Canva template ready, you can go in and switch the website, the background, and the question, the name really quickly and change the thumbnail of your video. And therefore, it's just going to do that little bit extra of catching their eye and making them go, whoa, this person's made a video just for me. So that's just one thought I had around thumbnails. I don't see a lot of people doing. That is a very successful technique for me.
That's awesome. So I'm going to show right now. So if anybody uses SendSpark, it's nice because we have a thumbnail builder built right into there. I'm just going to briefly show this because if you run a sales team, you probably don't have a lot of time to you need a repeatable process. But you can see here, you can add an animated GIF in there. It's got a little bit of movement. I do a little subtle kind of pointing to the screen. And in this case, I'd be like, maybe I'll be like, wondering about your video selling live episode. And you can even customize it. We've even got like a logo search built in here. So if I type in, they've got lavender. So I can just throw your logo right there on the screen. I feel like this is kind of cheating because this is like really easy. Yeah. But again, as you said, Will, not a lot of people are doing video selling. Every seller I talk to, they think that everybody and their grandmother is out there making 5 videos every day. Nope. And I've surveyed hundreds of sales teams, even the ones that pay for video subscriptions. And most sellers are sending fewer than 5 custom videos per month. So really taking a little bit of time to add a little bit of personalization, add something relevant to the recipient in the thumbnail. These little things that maybe take you 1 or 2 minutes might be the difference between you hitting your quota this month or not.
Yeah, exactly. And I saw there was tons of questions in the chat and we are at time. Otherwise I'll just quickly fire through them, but I'll try and respond to these afterwards, or you can hit me up in my DMs if you have any further questions, but happy to elaborate on the stuff that works for me when it comes to video. I think everyone should be doing video if they can. I hate that people write off so quickly. They send 3 videos and they're like, oh, well, it didn't work, did it? You make 3 cold calls or send 3 cold emails and say it doesn't work, you'd be laughed out of the room. So I think you do need to give it a really good shot, get some repetition in there if you want to see success from videos while following some of the best practices that folks like Chris and myself share as well.
Yeah, well, I think that is a great point to end it on. Will, thanks for coming out. A couple things here. One, this is the part where I do a shameless plug. If anybody is looking to get more video out there, I am a video coach. I teach video prospecting to sales teams as well as to individuals and founders. So if you want to get deep on video strategy, I cover everything. I also have a course called The Complete Guide to Selling on Video. You can buy that at chrisbogue.io or scan that QR code if you're interested in meeting with me. Once again, Lavender is over here. You can go check out Lavender for your team if you want to write better emails or if you want to follow some of Will's hilarious content. And Will, are you ready to announce the winner of today's $50 gift card giveaway from the comments?
Do I just choose someone in the comments and say they get $50?
Oh,
Is that,
well, I already chose them while you were searching, but you could just say yeah, and I'll announce who it is.
okay, yeah, I'm so ready. Sorry, I thought you were putting it on me to choose a winner. I
Uh,
can't wait to hear who won.
all right, well, it's Jake Hay. Jake Hay,
Jake!
you did it. Thanks for participating in today's show. We're going to be sending you a $50 Amazon gift card. Also, thanks to Megan, forgot your last, Megan Scott from HubSpot for your fantastic email and video. Thank you. And thank you to everybody in the audience who joined us today. We're so happy to come here. One more time, Will Aitken, thank you so much for coming out, man.